Love. It is often regarded as one of the highest forms of human experience, an emotion capable of elevating our spirits and bringing meaning to our existence. Yet, love is not the exalted divine force that many claim it to be. Rather, it is a trick of nature, a deception that blinds us to our true condition. Love, in all its manifestations, is little more than an expression of the blind, irrational will that governs us all. To understand the nature of love, we must first consider what I have called the will. The will is an unconscious, insatiable force that drives all living beings to seek self-preservation and reproduction. This will is the fundamental reality behind our existence. It is what motivates all actions, desires, and instincts. And it is in the service of this will that love, too, arises. Human beings, despite their lofty ideals, are not governed by reason or morality in matters of love. They are governed by this blind will which uses love as a tool to further the propagation of the species. Love, therefore, is not a noble pursuit of mutual affection or intellectual connection. It is, instead, a powerful illusion created by nature to ensure that the species survives and thrives. The feeling of falling in love, of being consumed by passion, is simply a manifestation of the will to life. It is nature's way of manipulating us into seeking a mate, often without any rational thought as to whether the person we are so deeply in love with is actually suited to us. Indeed, love is a form of self-deception. When we fall in love, we do not see the object of our affection as they truly are. We project our fantasies onto them. We see them as perfect, as if they are the very embodiment of all our desires. In truth, they are mere objects in the service of our will to procreate, and the perfection we see is only a reflection of our own needs, desires, and fantasies. It is impossible to ignore the role that sex plays in love. Indeed, the most intense form of attraction, this romantic love is deeply tied to the sexual urge. And in this, there is no romance, no idealism. The desire to procreate is the driving force behind this passion, and once again, it is the blind will to life at work. Sex, at its core, is not about connection, emotional intimacy, or companionship. It is an animalistic urge designed to perpetuate the species. In love, we are not enlightened beings who seek the union of souls, but rather creatures driven by base instincts to secure our legacy, to ensure our genetic material continues into future generations. But what of the suffering that love brings? It is undeniable that love, as it is experienced by most, is a source of great anguish. From unrequited love to betrayal, from heartbreak to the agony of separation, love brings with it a heavy burden. The source of suffering is the very nature of love itself. When we fall in love, we are not acting from a place of reason. We are pulled by the blind force of the will which disregards all else. The intensity of our desires creates expectations, and when those desires are unfulfilled, suffering arises. To be in love is to place yourself at the mercy of your own desires, and thus at the mercy of your own suffering. The more we desire, the greater our potential for pain. Love is not a source of liberation, but of enslavement. It is a trap we willingly fall into, drawn by the illusion of connection and pleasure, only to find ourselves bound in chains of longing and dissatisfaction. In any romantic relationship, there is an inherent tension between two individuals, each seeking to assert their will. The dynamic between partners is often one of mutual manipulation, each person trying to gain some advantage or control over the other. The so-called give and take of relationships is, in truth, a battle of wills. It is a conflict that never fully resolves, for one's desires are always in competition with the desires of the other. Even in the most harmonious of relationships, there is often an underlying struggle. Love does not unite us in a peaceful, harmonious state. It exacerbates the conflicts inherent in the human condition. Love, like all things, fades. The passion that once seemed so eternal will inevitably wither. This is the fate of all relationships. Love is not a force that endures. It is a temporary affliction, a fleeting madness. As we age, the intensity of passion diminishes, and the illusions of youthful love dissolve. What remains, in the end, is often disappointment. The partner you once adored is now just another person, perhaps a stranger. The future you once envisioned together fades, replaced by the reality of mundane existence. And so, we are left with the stark truth that love, so prized by the majority, is nothing more than a brief, beautiful illusion that will always be replaced by the cold truth of reality. Love is neither a divine gift nor a path to enlightenment. It is not the highest expression of human existence, but rather a manifestation of the blind, insatiable will that drives all creatures. It is an illusion, a trick of nature to ensure the survival of the species, and it brings with it not the bliss many imagine, but suffering, disappointment, and, in the end, resignation. Yet, in this, there is a strange kind of wisdom. For when we understand love as it truly is, we can begin to detach from its illusions. We can see the power of the will at work and, in doing so, gain a clearer understanding of the human condition. The key to true freedom, then, is not in pursuing the ideal of love, but in accepting its nature as a temporary and often painful part of our existence.